Here we go. We are back in business. Oh my goodness. I would just like to say I'm very proud of myself for handling that, because usually this is where I take the computer and just go and knock it off to the wall. Sometimes I laugh at myself for running an online business. I think it's hilarious. Yes, I am leading a team call in a bathrobe with hair that I slept on after I showered. And I would love to just say that if you ever think for 1 minute that this business needs to be built by somebody who has their entire life together or looks put together in a certain way, throw that out the window, because it's just plain and simple not true. What matters is the content that I'm going to share with you. What matters is that I show up. What matters is that I am doing my vitals, that I'm doing my work. I'm actually about to do my inviting right after this call, because I got too tired and I literally could not do it earlier before I finished working. So what matters is that we show up. It's not what we look like. It's not the perfect pictures. It's not the perfect curated reel. It's not the perfect video. It's not the perfect stories. It's not, it's not even the perfect transformation picture. None of that matters more than actually doing the things, okay? Take the messy action. Take the action no matter what it looks like, no matter how, beginner level it is. Take the action and just do the things. That's what I want to say. That's the reminder that I want to give to you guys, that whether you are on day 1 of your coaching journey, day 100 of your coaching journey, or you've been here for years, you are still going to do the same things. You're still going to show up in the same ways. The only difference is that the things are going to get a little bit easier. You're going to get a little bit better, and that's what makes it easier. But I also wanted to, so today's team call topic is on habit cues and fixes. So I am reading, as you guys know, the book Atomic Habits. It's excellent. I love it. I think it's amazing. I personally am somebody who struggles with habit creation. I'm not very good at building a routine, sticking to the routine, and following a list or anything like that. I make to-do lists all the time. I love pretty things, but realistically, I am not very good at sticking with them. So for me, I've always felt like that was a boundary for me. It was a setback for me, was that I was really inconsistent. That was the story that I told myself on repeat over and over and over again, was I am just too inconsistent. I am too all over the place. I can't stay doing this. I can't build a habit. I can't. And that was true for every single area of my life. That was true for my workouts. That was true for my food. That was true for my my mindset, and actually implementing, proper, healthy thoughts in my mind. That became true for my work. It became true for just everything. I applied it to everything. And still to this day, after 4.5 years of doing personal growth work, to this day, that is probably my biggest boundary. That is probably still the gremlin that comes up in my mind. It tells me, you can't do this. You can't have success. You are always going to be a failure. This gremlin comes up and tries to tell me that I will never see success because I can't stay consistent. So you might have a different story. Maybe your gremlin that comes up tells you that you're never going to be good enough. You're never going to be enough. you're never going to be fill in the blank, right? This gremlin will constantly try and remind you of this, and it's your job. It's not, we can't expect ourselves to just wipe it away. You know, I say all the time, like, I'm not the same person that I was 4 years ago. I'm not even the same person I was a year ago. I have changed so drastically, grown so drastically in just the last year, let alone 4.5 years, okay? I am not the same person that I was. However, that does not mean that just because I have grown, just because I'm better now than I was a year ago, I'm better today than I was yesterday, doesn't mean that all of those things that I was and dealt with are eliminated. They're still there. They're still there. Okay, so that can apply to whatever your story is. If you are finding that your biggest gremlin or your biggest obstacle, that biggest fearful thought, that biggest setback between you and your success, if you find that keeps coming up, it is your responsibility to work on it. It is your responsibility, your duty, your job. It is up to you. It is an obligation that you have for you, for your people, for your business, for the people in your life, your relationships. It is your responsibility to overcome that. It is your responsibility to get so aware of that specific gremlin and do your job every single day to overcome that. And so with this book, Bringing It Back, I am being reminded a ton about how important habits are. And for some people, building a habit is really easy. For some people, they just do it. Maybe you guys are like that. For some of you guys, you will just, you need to do something, so you start doing it and boom, boom, boom. You are just a routine freak. I love routine, but I like routine that changes. I like routine that doesn't always stay the same. I'm an Enneagram 7. That's the 7 in me. I need to constantly be like stimulated with change, with variation. And so habits require effort, okay? And I have relearned or been reminded of a couple of things that I personally have realized that I've actually done really, really well when it comes to habits and creating habits for our vitals. And so that's what we're specifically going to talk about. Now, you can take this and apply it to any area of your life. Take this and apply it to anything outside of your vital behaviors. But I'm going to apply them specifically to the 4 vital behaviors, because if you do these 4 things every single day, if you make it a habit, if you put these things on autopilot and your mind just does it when you are triggered by something, you will build your business. That's the reason why I'm still here today, okay? Is because of these things. So, work to make your vitals a habit in your day so that they are literally automatic, so that they happen when this trigger happens. Immediately, your mind and your body go into action for these things. Now, it might not look, all 4 are done at the same time. Definitely doesn't look like that for me and my business. But when you hear other coaches talk about how they do their work throughout the day, it's usually because they have habit. It's usually because they've built these vital behaviors into a habit, okay? And so, number 1 space for 1 use. This was actually something that he talked about in the book, and I realized that this is something that I do for a lot of my different activities in the business. What this means is, in your environment, if you go to, let me just read through all of them. So 1 space, 1 use. Know what your cue or your trigger is for each habit. I'm going to talk and elaborate on that. Prime your environment to support the cues. Habit stack, and divide your space and your devices for success. So let me elaborate. Number one space for one use. This means that you have one dedicated space in your environment, whether that is at home. So it depends on which vital we're talking about. Let's say you're doing your workout. You have one space for your workout and one use. So for me, that doesn't mean that you have to have a dedicated workout space, but you have a dedicated space that you work out in. Don't work out in multiple different spaces all over your house. Work out in the same space every single day, until this becomes literally a habit, until you build this as a habit, meaning that no matter where you are, there will be a cue, there will be a trigger, you will do your workout. Until that happens, or to be more consistent in this activity, have your one space, one use. You have one space in your house that you do your workout in. For me, that's our living room. So right now in this apartment, we use our living room. In my last house, in our last place, it was in the office. We had the office and workout space dedicated in there. At my very first house, when I first started this business, it was also in the living room. And so what I know is when I look at that space, I know exactly what happens. I do my workout. I know where to press play. I know where to set the computer up. It becomes a ritual, a routine, okay? It becomes a habit. So the same thing applies for making your shake. The same thing applies for doing your invites. The same thing applies for reading your personal development. Have one space and one use, meaning you have one dedicated area that you do that action, and it's just that action, okay? Try not to take your invites and do them here and do them in different places and do them at the dining room table, or have a work dedicated space. If you find that you're not able to separate your work from your personal life, your family life, your social life, your own personal environment, if you can't separate them, then you are combining too many things in one space. So for me, one of the rules outside of pregnancy, let's just assume I'm not pregnant when this applies, I do not work in my bed. I do not work on the couch. I don't really work in the kitchen. I work at my desk or at the dining room table. So when it is 9 to 5, when it's 9 to 5 or it's my work hours, aka 5 o'clock in the morning, and whatever time I'm working, during those hours when I see my desk and I see the dining room table, I associate work. I associate my laptop. I associate, I don't really write posts at my dining room table. I write them in the same space every single time. I don't do personal things in the office. I don't do personal things at my desk. I work at my desk. That way, when I sit down, my mind goes directly to working. It doesn't go to, oh, what am I going to do? Oh, maybe I'll color. Oh, maybe I'll look up and do some research. If I'm going to research something for my own personal desire, I take my laptop out of the office. I do not do anything personal at my desk. When I sit down, this space is associated with one thing only, and that's work. Okay, I don't blend the two together. The same thing applies with when I'm sitting on the couch. If I'm sitting with Kyle, or I want to just dig around and go on my computer and read about something, that's when I sit in my bed. So that when I sit and lay in my bed and I have my computer, my mind doesn't associate doing work, it associates with rest time, with chill time, with relaxed time. And that's what I'm able to do. So that's what one space, one use means, okay? If you are unclear on that, please ask questions. But this is really important, really, really important. Number 2, know what your cue and your trigger is for each habit. So think about the 4 vital behaviors. Again, I want you to apply this to multiple different areas of your life, but let's talk about just the 4 vital behaviors. What's the cue? What's that thing that you see, that you do, the action that you take, the thought that comes up that triggers you to then take action on that activity? For example, let's talk about personal development. My cue for personal development is sitting down at my desk first thing in the morning with a cup of Energize, a bottle of water, and the lights on, my dangly lights over here. And it's the first thing that I do. The cue is having my Energize, my bottle of water, and sitting at my desk. Instantly, my mind and my body go into personal development time. The cue is usually having my Energize. That's usually the main cue. So because I've built this as a habit, no matter where I am, if I have Energize, my mind instantly thinks that it should be doing personal development. It right away associates that personal development with the cue and the trigger of having my Energize. For you, figure out what that cue is. Now, at the number 4, it says habit stack. Habit stack means based on what you already do, based on your already current habits, can you place this new habit stacked in with those ones that you already have? So for example, if you struggle to get your personal development in, if that's a vital behavior that you are not getting in consistently, you dabble, you do it here, you do that, you just can't find a routine and you can't find a consistent time to do it, stack it with another habit. So if you're already drinking Energize, what are you doing while you drink your Energize? Stack that habit. Your habit is already Energize, drink the Energize, do my workout. You can stack reading your personal development or doing your affirmations with your Energize. If you've ever talked to me, that's usually my go-to, because what do you do while you sip your drink? What do you do? If you're not doing something productive that is already serving your life, that's a perfect time to do your personal development or your affirmations. If you don't know what the cue is, if you have a habit or a vital behavior that you haven't quite made into a habit yet and there really is no cue, then the best thing to do would be to habit stack. So find an area in your life that you can stack this new action on top of. I'm going to give you some examples when we fly through the different vital behaviors. Prime your environment to support the cues. This is really, really important. And this is actually probably the thing that I didn't realize I was doing that was the most important on my success for all of my areas that I finally built habits in, for my workout, for my nutrition, for my mindset, and honestly, for just the way that I have discipline in my work. It really doesn't require discipline because I have supported my environment. I have primed my environment so well that it doesn't really require effort to not do the things that distract me. So for example, in the morning, my environment is quiet. It is, my Energize is there. I know exactly where it is. My Energize cup, whatever cup. This is my new Energize cup, but whatever I was using, there was always cups available. The kitchen was always cleaned. I knew exactly where my Energize was. The environment was primed. When I sit in my office, again, there's no TV in my office. I have no TV desire in my office because it's one space, one use. And I just sit down. My personal development books are always in the same position. They're always in the same spot. My journal is on top of my personal development book. My cards that I pull are on top of my journal. I prime that environment so well that there's no way that I can skip it unless I start scrolling my social media. And so the way I started to prime myself was airplane mode. I don't take my phone off of airplane mode until I am done my personal development and my personal growth time. Every single time, I'm not perfect. Every single time that I do take it off of airplane mode, instantly distracted. Because that cue, take it off of airplane mode, that is the cue to go to Instagram. Instantly. I take that off and I hit Instagram right away. Once I hit Instagram, I want to start scrolling. Then I hit the explore page. Then I scroll the explore page, and boom, I'm down the cycle. That is literally a habit. It's not because I want to be scrolling or on social media. It is just drilled into my head. Q is turn airplane mode off, go to Instagram. Go to Instagram, scroll. Scroll, go to explore page. See how like literally that's its own habit stack, right? When I prime my environment for success, my airplane mode is on to do my personal development. The habit stack that I created was, as soon as I am done my personal development time, I've done my my reading, my journaling, affirmations, gratitudes, goal setting, all of that, visualization and or meditation. So just quieting my mind, envisioning what I am going to succeed at, what is coming for me, what am I looking for, what am I manifesting, what am I attracting into my life, what am I going to achieve, or doing a meditation, or just stillness and quiet time, pulling a card if that's what I desire at that time. Once that's done, I stacked my posting to my social media in this time, because I thought, well, this is a perfect time that I can get a post out every single day almost. I would say like 80% of the time. 4 out of 5 days, I can usually get a post up at this time. I was struggling to consistently get posts up because I never had a specific one space, one use. I never had that one area where I was always putting up posts, except for on the toilet. And you don't always get those done, right? So I stacked that habit, and as soon as I am done my personal growth time, I turn that airplane mode on, I go to Instagram, and I quickly look at my own feed. I figure out what picture will work best, and I write my post every single day. I don't get distracted by scrolling because it's such a habit to know that airplane mode after I've done my personal development means writing a post. That's just where my mind goes, okay? So that's one way that you can really prime your environment. The same thing applies for my workout. I prime my environment to support my workout by keeping my weights out. Every single time I look at my weights, I'm like, oh yeah, I should work out. Oh yeah, I gotta work out. Oh yeah, tomorrow I have to work out. This is what workout we're gonna do. This is what we're gonna do. I'm constantly priming myself to know to think about my workout. If you work backwards on this, the other side of this would be prime your environment to support the action that you need to take by making sure that you don't have the distractions. So if you find yourself Actually, I'm going to talk about this. Let me save this. I'm going to give you an example that I just realized, and I'm going to try a new technique for inviting, and it talks about this specifically. And then number 5, divide your space and your devices for success. This means that if you find yourself constantly getting distracted, or you're not able to be creative, or you're not able to stay on task with a specific device, have different devices for different tasks. So for me, I don't ever really check my email. I don't really check my email on my phone. If I do, I literally look at it and I go to my computer to handle my email. I use my computer to write posts in the team page, to create content for boot camps. I don't do any of that stuff on my phone. I don't create graphics on my phone. I create them all on my computer, and it is fast for me. It becomes a habit for me. The same thing applies with I'm going to start a little bit more strict. But for me, I use my iPad for expanding my network, and sometimes I use it for messaging, but it's not the most ideal. And I actually like to do messaging on Instagram from my computer. The same thing applies for like answering messages. If I don't sit down at my computer, I often don't end up answering a lot of my messages, because for me, my phone is it's my posting. So posting to social media, it's creating stories, and it is taking pictures. So it's really more so for creating than it is for actually talking. And what I was finding was I would open up and see all of my messages, and I can stay like in the zone, because I don't really answer messages on my phone, right? I answer them if I need to, but I have one space, one use. My phone is not used to do mentoring. It's not used to do to answer messages from people. I don't get distracted by text messages when I'm doing work, because my phone is my personal use. When it's time to do personal time, which is like at lunchtime, or whatever it is after work, that's when I go and read my messages from my text messages. I don't text coaches or clients. I keep it separate, which is why I always am in my messages or my email. Just divide your devices if you are finding that you cannot stay on topic for whatever your action is. Okay, let's fly through the actual vitals. So vital 1, be proof the product works. So how do you do this, and where do you share this? So number 1, part 1 is of being proof the product works is you actually have to work out, you have to use the products, and you have to get your results yourself, right? That's part 1. Part 2 is sharing that on social media. So to actually do this, your habits would need to be using the products. So are you in a habit of drinking your Shakeology? Do you drink it every single day at the same time? Do you make it the same way? What is that trigger? What's that cue that will remind you to drink your Shakeology? For me, when I was building that habit, it was my breakfast every single day. So the cue was, I need breakfast. That thought of, I need breakfast. And then I would make my shake. Now it's such a habit that I just do it, right? I look at the shaker cup, boom, I have multiple cues now. I look at the shaker cup, I look at the Shakeology box, I need lunch, I need a snack, whatever it is. For you, it might be that you drink your Shakeology every single day at the same time, or you make it the same way. So you start to think, oh, I really want that granola. And you put that granola on top of your shake, right? It's little silly things like that become little cues, and it triggers your mind to think, drink your Shakeology. When you do that repeatedly,
It will become such a habit. You will be on autopilot. It will happen without you even needing to put effort in to, actually do the action, okay? So for me, my trigger for my workout is I finish my Energize. Another, actually using the product, so using the Energize, my trigger and my cue is waking up in the morning, and instantly I think, okay, it's time for Energize. That's the first thing that I do in the morning after I go to the washroom. Walk into the kitchen, make my Energize. I mean, that happens every single day, whether I am working out or not. The cue to do my workout is Kyle wakes up. That's my cue now. When I first started, the cue was as soon as I was done my Energize, that's when I did my workout. And then it became a habit. Until it becomes a habit, keep it the exact same consistently over time. Don't try and change it up every single day. Your cue has to be the same thing every single day, okay? You have to have that same consistency day after day repeated in order for this to become a habit. What will then happen is you will have multiple triggers, multiple cues that trigger the same habit, the same action. So for me, if I were to put myself back into the environment of living in the same apartment that I was living in when I first started this, drinking my Energize on my floor and doing my, about to do my workout, I would literally automatically do the exact same things. That's just a cue that I used then, I don't need now because my environment is different. So find the environment, find the cue that works for each of these things. Be proof that the product works. Know what your cue is in order to do your workout. Know what your cue is to drink your shake. Know what your cue is to post about those things. So for example, share the workout moves, insert the time that works for you. Stack this if you need to. So maybe for you, the habit becomes you do your workout. During your workout, you record your videos. And immediately as you are recovering, that's when you're posting your videos. Maybe that doesn't work for you. The time is not there. So instead, while you are on lunch, every single day, you have lunch at the exact same time. You pull out lunch equals post your stories. You pull out your lunch, and as you're eating, you go to your story, you go to your Instagram, and you share those videos that you took in the morning or that you took last night or whatever it is, right? Stack that habit on top of something else. One way or another, you need to do it at the exact same time. So that would be, the cue would be you sit down and eat your lunch. If you don't sit down and eat your lunch at the same time, the same place, you're not gonna think about going to post your stories. If you go out for lunch and you're constantly doing something different, that's not a good time to habit stack, right? Don't expect yourself to post your stories during lunchtime if you're constantly going to lunch and doing lunch and having lunch at different places, different times. It's not successful. You're not setting yourself up for success in that environment. But if that is something that you do consistently every single day, that will be a great time to implement that. Share a healthy meal. Share the same meal every single day. If you eat a healthy lunch every single day, or even if you aren't eating a healthy lunch on a one day, share that. Share the same meal consistently that works for you every single day. I usually share my lunch or my dinner or both, right? Every single time. It's funny because I won't share my breakfast if I don't have toast, peanut butter and banana, or oatmeal. You never see other breakfasts of mine, but it has become a cue, a trigger that when I make a bowl of oatmeal, I post it to my stories. When I make a plate of peanut butter toast with banana on top, I post it to my stories. If I have something else, if I just peanut butter and jam, or I have some fruit for breakfast, or I have like whatever else I have for breakfast,
I never post it. I never think to post it. But when I have those specific meals, because I did it so repeatedly, it's now become a habit. It's now a trigger, right? The same thing applies for you. Find something that works for you. Being part of the product, being part of the result, and sharing that it works for you is sharing the process. So find little things in your day instead of feeling overwhelmed like you have to do every single thing, right? Find those little things that you do consistently. If you watch my stories for like even 3 days in a row, you will notice that my stories are pretty much the same. I share pretty much the same thing every single day. And yet I have the same people watch my stories every single day. Every single day. If I do that consistently, I will become a trigger for them. I will become a cue for them. Every single time they see my bubble, they hit me and they watch my stories. It has become a habit for those consistent same people. But my stuff, it's the same thing every single day. So showing up, doing my workout, sharing on my stories, none of that feels like work because it's not hard for me. I've primed my environment to successfully do these things automatically, okay? Setting yourself up for, setting your environment up for success in these. Make sure you have the things that you need in the spots that you need them, even if it's not the most convenient. So one of the things that I started to do was that ring light over there. I started to set it up. It's my tripod, so that's what I was always recording my workout videos from. It's not a convenient spot, you guys. It doesn't look good, and it's very inconvenient to move the damn thing every single day. So I just kept that tripod, that ring light, in my living room, up against the wall by where we had the stroller. Is that the home for it? Not at all. So on the weekends, I put it away. But during the week, when I'm actually recording my workouts, I had it there every single day. Now I moved it here because we're not really working out. Right now we're going for walks instead, so I don't really need it. But when I am ready to record my videos again, boom, that I know exactly where that stand goes. So prime your environment for success. Have your phone with you when you go to have your lunch if that's the same meal that you're going to be sharing every single day. Have your phone with you when you are mixing up your Energize, if that's the thing that you're going to be doing every single day. I always have my phone, I leave it in the kitchen in order to charge, so when I wake up in the morning, boom, there's my phone, still on airplane mode, but I know that my phone is there. I can record my videos, my talking videos, or I can record doing my, making my Energize. It's the same thing every single time. I don't have the thought of, oh shit, where's my phone? Right? Apply that for all of your different habits. Okay, vital number 2, inviting. What is the cue for inviting? This is probably the hardest one because this is the habit that this is the vital that most people don't ever build into a habit or constantly are changing. They start it and then they stop it. And that just comes from inviting is probably the least enjoyable vital behavior for a lot of people. Not for everybody, but for a lot of people. It's especially the most fearful behavior for a lot of people until we realize, wow, this is actually really freaking easy, okay? So set up your environment to support the cue to do the inviting. So I want to give you an example. Inviting has been always the vital behavior that I don't actually have a cue for, which is why I always procrastinate it. I always skip it. I don't enjoy it because I just don't have something that triggers me to do it the same way I have for my workout at 7:30 in the morning. Kyle rolls out, or at 6:45 in the morning, Kyle rolls out of bed. He comes into the office. He says good morning. He goes and sets up the computer. That's my cue to start my workout. Or I finish my Energize, I start my workout. It's an easy, enjoyable cue. I don't have to think about it. There's nothing there. For my personal development, it's wake up, drink my Energize, or make my Energize, sit down, drink it. I get to do my personal development. I get to drink my Energize while I do my personal development, right? For me, I never really found something that was consistent for inviting. I've tried many different things, but nothing has really stuck. I just realized today, this morning in my journaling, that I constantly have this story on repeat sometimes of I just don't like inviting. Inviting is hard. Inviting is long. Inviting is boring. Inviting is unsexy. And I'm not sure where it comes from because I actually really enjoy inviting. And so I never really understand what it is. I need variety. I need variety. I need constant movement. I need constant change. I need to be doing different things all the time. For me, the unsexy part of inviting is that it takes me so damn long. It takes me forever to do I am the slowest, and I've always said this, I am the slowest inviter on the planet. For me to do the number of invites that I want to do, it doesn't seem enjoyable because it takes so long for me. So that thought is dreaded because I have to sit still and do the same damn thing for multiple hours on end. And I don't want to do that. So what I need to do is prime my environment. What my new technique is going to be is actually what I used when I first started coaching and was first building this business. And so what I do is I write out whatever number you want to commit to. If you want to commit to 10, do it for 10. When I first started, it was for 20. Then when I was pushing for diamond, it was 30. So I write out my list. I write out the number of how many people. Today I did 50. So I'm going to do 50 invites after this. But that's also because I haven't invited for like a week. These names came from my list. So when I was first starting, if you are first starting or you're new or you're just getting into inviting, I would go through my Facebook list and I would write down 20 different names. I wouldn't invite them right at that moment, but I would write down all of those names. Then I would be able to go through quickly, type in their name, send them an invite. If I'm not able to invite them for something, let's say I've already invited them this month, they're already a coach, or there's some reason why they're not actually a good invite, I can cross them off the list. So maybe out of the 30 invites that I'm sending or the 20 invites that I'm sending, I'm actually only really sending 18 of them, or I'm only really sending 12 of them, right? Depending on where you're at. That process for me is what works. To me, in my mind, I don't have to think about inviting because I've already done the work of finding the people to invite. That's what I realize. Duh, I have the biggest hump around is where am I going to find these people to invite today? Am I going to find my 30 people today? Am I actually going to have quality people to invite today? Are they going to be good? Those thoughts come in and they block me. They stop me. They make it unattractive. They make it unsexy. So what do? I prime my environment for success. The cue was I try and stack it. When I am done and I sit down to work, boom. First thing I do is I'm going to write out my list of people that I'm going to invite for the day. Then I'm going to sit down, which is what I would have done today, but I almost fell asleep on my desk. What I would do is finish that list, go to my Instagram. I would pull up Instagram. So I'm finding my people on my one device. Then I'm going to my Instagram on my computer and I'm typing in their names. I go to message. I can then read if we've had a conversation before, if I've invited them before. I can write that invite. For me, typing and inviting on my computer is way more attractive. For some reason, I feel more excited and like a boss to do my work on my computer than I enjoy doing it on my phone. That's just me personally. Other people love to work on their phone. I know one coach who is 5-star elite qualifying. She literally runs her entire business on her phone. She does everything from her phone, like I'm talking everything. She does not use her computer. It's mind-blowing to me. I'm like, I don't know how you do that. For me, I don't like inviting from my phone. I actually hate inviting from my phone, which is probably one of the reasons why I procrastinate it so much and I don't actually enjoy it, right? I enjoy talking to people. I love talking to people. I love helping people. I love answering all of my messages, but I do it on my computer. So set yourself up for success in that, okay? For me, I needed to realize, write your people first. Of these 50 names, if I can get 20 or 30, that's awesome, right? So maybe for you, if you want to be inviting 10 people, but you've been a coach for a while, then definitely write down 20 names, right? You can fly through 20 names for sure, the same rate as you writing down 10 names, but having to find them at the same time. Okay. I don't know why that's duplicated. Vital number 3, your personal development. So when do you do it and what is the cue that you do daily already that you can stack your personal development into? So personal development is one of those actions that I would totally stack, not really like create this new habit. I would stack it with something that you already do. Maybe that's drinking your coffee every single morning. Maybe it's driving to work. When I used to drive to work every single day, that's when I listened to my personal development. When I was training at the gym, this is going way back in my first 3 months of coaching, but that's when I was building my habit. When I was training for a workout session, I would, during my warm-up, read on my phone. So I was reading a digital version of the Slight Edge. That's how I built the habit of personal development. Starting my warm-up equaled reading personal development. I didn't listen to music. I read my personal development instead. At home, it was, I don't even remember actually. I'm pretty sure that's how I built the habit, and then I just became more consistent with it. Eventually it became, when I was not working my training job, it became drinking my Energize equaled when I did my personal development. And when I did my personal development is when I implemented the journaling. I didn't journal first. I started reading, then I stacked on top of reading my journaling. And my journaling started out with writing my goals out. Then it became writing gratitudes. Then it became writing affirmations. I wasn't always this freak about journaling, okay? It got built because consistently day after day I was doing it. So for you, if you struggle to get your personal development in, stack it on top of something that you're already doing. If you take a shower every single day at the same damn time, put your freaking development on at that time. Don't try and force yourself to read a book if you don't have the same consistent time to read a book, you know? If you're taking a shower at the same time, or at least you're taking a shower every other day, it's better than what I'm doing. But if you're taking a shower every other day at the same time after your workout or whatever it is, you're doing this consistently, listen to your personal development at that time, okay? If you make dinner, if you cook yourself dinner and it takes you 10 minutes or more, put your personal development on Audible at that time. If you don't have a time in your day where you can consistently stack in reading a book, stop trying to read a book. Go and get Audible. Listen to a book. Is it the most attractive way for you to listen to your personal development? Maybe not. I'd much rather read a book, hard copy, than listen to it on Audible. But when I was working 2 other jobs, plus this business, plus planning a wedding, when I had no time, I had to use Audible. It was the only option, okay? When I would walk my dog, that's when I listened to personal development. Every single day. When I would drive to work, that's when I listened to my personal development. I used to drive to work and it used to be a 4-minute drive. You bet your ass I was listening to personal development for 8 minutes every single day when I was working that job. 8 minutes. It doesn't have to be this massive big thing, right? 8 minutes. And it still changed my entire mindset. Do the same thing every single day until it is a habit, then introduce different cues, okay? Don't try and change it and do your personal development at this time on Mondays, but at this time on Tuesdays, and you skip Wednesday altogether, and you're trying to do it at this time at a different time, different space, different place on Thursday, and Friday is just a chaotic day. Like, find something that is consistent every single day. Stack it in a place that is consistent every single day. And the last one, recognition. What's your cue for doing this? How will you consistently recognize yourself or somebody else every single day? Is it personal recognition? When does that happen? What will trigger you to do a shout out post for somebody? Is it using your business activity tracker when you get to that point? That's just your cue. You go and find something to recognize, find someone to recognize. Is it every single day when you check into your boot camp, you find something to recognize, you screenshot it, and either you recognize right at that moment or you go and do it at a different time. So maybe for you, your check-in to your boot camp time is in the morning, right after you do your personal development, right before you do your workout, or right after you do your workout. You go to check into your boot camp and you scroll through. As you're scrolling through, you find something to recognize. You find a post that somebody did, a celebration, or maybe it's going through your messages and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna post this tomorrow for recognition. You screenshot it, but that's not the time that you do your recognition. If that's not the time that you do your recognition, save that, go and open it, and find and know that trigger for recognition. For me, the trigger in the queue is literally checking it off of the, seeing it on my business activity tracker. So it's important. I am only successful in recognition if I have my business activity tracker out. It's not the most ideal, but that's what works for me, right? So I always prime myself, I prime my environment, and I have my business activity tracker, which I just ran out for this week. I have to get a new one to start for Thursday. And it sits on top of my invite book, which sits on top of my personal development, okay? And that's what I do every single day. So find that trigger for your recognition, whether that's for yourself or for somebody else. Is it when you log into your boot camp? Is it when you sign on to do your things? Knowing that you have specific dedicated times for specific activities is really helpful and really beneficial for organization in your business. The point is, you don't need to do all of your work all at the same time. If you've got little habits and little cues throughout the day that trigger you to take that action, your work will literally fit within your already working routine. It doesn't have to be this extra additional time that you spend, but it's just using what you already do, creating a habit of it, and knowing that those cues are triggering you to take that action, okay? And these are just some of the things that came from the book that I absolutely loved. People often choose to do things or use products, not because of what they are, but because of where they are. This is why it's so important to prime your environment. If you're energized is on the top shelf that you cannot reach because you're 4'11", are you going to drink it? Not a chance, right? I'm not getting on a stool or a chair to get my Energize every single day. So I don't keep my Shakeology. I don't keep my healthy foods. Think about it this way. If you have like a plate of your favorite treat sitting on the counter, every single time that you walk into the kitchen and see them, you're gonna want them. Not because you actually want it, but because of where it is, because you see it. That cue, that trigger says eat that thing because you enjoy it, right? So apply the same thing for your vital behaviors and you will have way more success. Place the things that you need to be successful in an open and obvious space. And like I said, prime your environment. It's so important. And the last thing is, if you want a habit to be a big part of your life, if you want these vitals to be a big part of your life so that you can build a business that creates freedom for you, then make the cues and the triggers a huge part of your environment. Make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy for yourself, make it something that you want to do. If you want these things to be a big part of your life, if you want this business to be a part of your life, make the cues for each habit, for each vital, big in your environment, big in your life. They can't be small. They have to be huge, okay? Okay. I know that was probably a lot, and I'm not a habit educator. So, I mean, read the book or read some kind of book about habits. I promise you will get so much value out of it. But the point is, create your life, create a schedule around different successful little cues that prime you to do the right action, okay? Create an environment that supports the cues that you need in order to create these things as a habit. Yes? Excellent. Let me just check on the chat real quick. Yes. No cue for, I know. I had no cue for inviting, which is exactly why I skipped it all the time. And that's probably, if I had to put money on it, the reason why many new coaches do not see success in this business, because they don't create a cue for inviting, and that just not doing it is what makes it scary, you guys. If you don't invite, that's what makes inviting scary, because it's the unknown. If you do it, just like your workout, it becomes something that you know is something that you're capable of. You realize, oh, I can do this easily every single day. This isn't actually as hard as I hyped it up to be in my head. When we don't do something, we don't have any knowledge of what we're capable of, right? We hype that up. But if we do it every single day, we get better at it. It gets easier. We know exactly what to do, and eventually we just do it. Some of these vitals are going to be way easier for you to implement as a habit than other ones. Work your booty off to make that consistent, to make it a habit. If you make it a habit, these things will not be work. This business will not be work. It will literally just be a part of your day. Okay? I don't think about my workout as being work. I don't think about my personal development or checking into my boot camp or, writing content. I don't think about writing a post as work, but it is. That's exactly what it is, right? It's just so drilled into my day. Okay, that's it. I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to pop them into the team page. I will happily answer them. If you've got any necessary questions right now, feel free to ask. Otherwise, happy Tuesday. And that's it. for joining. Thanks for listening if you're listening to the recording. And yeah, again, if you have any questions, drop them in the team page. Other than that,